Hi, and welcome to today's Parents University. I'm Aaron Sulmer, Director for Instructional Technology, and I am delighted to bring you a special episode today. Today is focused on social emotional learning, or SEL, and specifically how it pertains to you, your family, and your students, especially during this time of pandemic and the holiday season coming up and how to survive it all. Our special guests today are three staff members that traditionally work with the 6th through 12th grade age group, and they have some tips they would like to share. Without further ado, here we go.
Hi, my name is Katie Bunier, and I am the social worker at Elm Middle School. I want to take a few minutes and just talk about some tips for having a conversation with your child about their social emotional needs. So it is so important to find some time to sit down with your child and just listen. I know we are all so busy, especially now, and I often hear from students that they don't want to add more stress to their parents, or they know that their parents are working so hard for them and their family, and they don't want to feel like a bother to the family. But finding that time is going to be really, really important. And making sure we're asking those open-ended questions, such as, what was the best thing that happened today? How did something surprise you? Or tell me something you wish had gone differently. These open-ended questions are really important because they will hopefully continue that conversation. And we want to avoid those yes or no questions or those questions that may just give us one-word answers, because that can tend to quickly shut down a conversation. So when you are talking to your child, let them know that you're there to listen and you are not there to judge. And if they do share something personal with you, making sure we're responding to what they say with empathy and understanding, and that you believe what they are sharing with you. We care so much about our children, and sometimes, we get so worried that our reactions may come off as maybe angry or mad. But telling your child you're scared or that you're worried about them is okay, and that you might need some time to process something that has been shared with you. And again, it's so important then to respond with that empathy and just be mindful of our reactions. Making sure we're asking those follow-up questions. Again, if they do share something with you that you just need clarification on, or you are worried, making sure to ask those questions to make sure them and everybody is safe. If you are worried, like I said, it's okay to tell them. Don't hold back on those tough conversations or emotions, even if they may make you feel uncomfortable. And discuss with them about how you can help brainstorm some solutions or what they might need for support. Feeling these strong emotions, such as anxiety, sadness, and anger, are all very normal emotions. And it is really important to actually feel these emotions to understand how to learn to cope through them, especially as teenagers and preteens, as the kids are getting into middle school and high school. This is a really important life skill that they need to learn. And this may take some time, and that is okay. I think as adults, we want our kids to just feel better right away, and we want those immediate results. But like I said, those strong emotions can take some time to work through. And again, it's really important for them to feel these emotions in order for them to learn those age-appropriate coping skills and problem-solving skills. And remembering that it truly takes a community. So making sure you're reaching out to somebody, whether it's someone at the school, whether it's a family member, a family friend, but reaching out if you do need additional support to maybe know how to handle something. And if you're not sure how to handle something, that's okay too. And it's okay to say that. But, let your child know that you're going to be there for them, you're going to work with them, and that you're going to find some of those answers. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Jason Weiss, and I am the school counselor for Elm Middle School. The question I'll be answering: what are some coping and distressing strategies we can do at home? When it comes to coping and distressing strategies, there is a whole litany you can find on the internet just by typing in the phrase above, and you will see activity after activity. So I sort of want to talk about what to do with those activities, and I will mention a couple of my favorites. So when looking at these coping strategies that you can implement in your home, trial and error is sort of the approach you want to take with them. Because sometimes when we see strategies, we automatically think, that won't work for me, or that won't work for my kids, and so we don't try it. But because we don't try it, we never know if it works. So trial and error is a really good approach. It lets you try out strategies, and if they don't work, you don't do them again. But if they do work, maybe you try them out, or maybe some variation of them. You'd be surprised how many of these strategies actually are helpful if you are open to them. And that's another thing to keep in mind. When you're trying out these different coping strategies at home, keeping an open mind and lets you just be okay with whatever happens. So, also when looking for strategies, strength-based coping skills are really helpful. You should be looking at coping strategies that work on strengths that you and your child already have. So, if creativity is one of your strengths, maybe art-based coping activities would be really helpful. Versus if art wasn't one of your strengths, then it probably wouldn't be one of the best areas for you. If exercise is something that you really enjoy, maybe doing some more adventure therapy activities would be beneficial, and sort of looking at what works for you and what doesn't. One of my favorite strategies, though, is doing coping activities that reduce worry. Worry is not an always useful emotion. It can stress us out even further, and especially if we're worrying about a situation that we can't control, we're just exhausting ourselves over something where the worry isn't actually beneficial. So one way I think that is helpful to reduce worry is asking yourself, what do I have to do today? If your child is worried about a test next week, what do they actually need to do today? Could they plan for how to study for that next week, knowing though they can't do all their studying today? And same thing for us when trying to help out our students and children, thinking about what is happening next month or next week or even next year. Look at what's happening one day at a time. Because even though all those things are happening, you only actually will be dealing with them on the day that you can. So ask yourself, what do you have to do today? And what can you do today? Because it's probably a smaller list than you think. And mindful distractions is another really good coping strategy. A mindful distraction means that you are separating yourself from things you cannot control, but not avoiding things that you need to give attention to. So spending a time reading a book, listening to music, watching TV to avoid something, that won't make the problem go away. But using it to distract yourself from something you're worrying about, something that you can't control, that actually can give you some of your power and energy to help recharge. If you're watching TV or music when you're avoiding something, it's not going to feel that energizing because you're going to kind of feel it in the back of your head that you're putting something off, versus when you're doing it to actually benefit you. The 5-minute break is also a really good strategy. If there's a situation you're really worried about, but you're feeling real high intensity emotion, just say, I'm not ignoring this, but I'm going to step back for 5 minutes. And then 5 minutes later, come back to it and see how you're feeling. Maybe you're not feeling any more calm, but you were able to give yourself that 5-minute break. Because sometimes asking ourselves to take an hour-long break or 30-minute break, it feels kind of that we don't have time for that. But 5 minutes, we can often fit that in. And the last thing I'll close out on is sleep, food, and exercise. It is highly underrated how much having a good night's sleep, having good meals and healthy meals and exercise really do improve our mood, our energy, and our ability to cope with struggles and difficulties that are coming throughout our day. Now, this is just a baseline of coping strategies. You can look online, you can look on different school websites to find more, but remember to keep in mind trial and error and let yourself have some fun and experiment with these activities. You won't know what works until you try it, so go in with an open mind. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Nina Lindbeck. I'm the social worker at Elmwood Park High School. I'm here just to kind of answer a few questions about how to identify whether our children might be having a hard time right now during this global pandemic. So our kids, especially our high schoolers, the group I'm more familiar with, usually give us some signs, whether they say it or in sort of their actions or behaviors, that they're having a hard time. There's a few kind of key things that we look for when we're trying to identify if somebody's having a hard time. Typically, those are changes from their normal habits, right? So if your child is typically good-natured and happy, and you're noticing that they seem more down or are sleeping more, not engaging with you, that's probably going to be a sign that something's wrong. Additionally, other changes in their behavior, like they're not eating as much. So maybe they're either eating more than they usually eat or not eating as much as they ate before. They might be isolating more, so it's spending more time in their room, not engaging as much with friends or family. those are all signs that there might be something wrong. If you do suspect that something's wrong, I would always encourage parents just to be direct with their child. So ask them, I always think asking and for permission is really helpful with teenagers. Hey, is it okay if I ask you a question? Or do you think that we could talk for a few minutes? To start the conversation, and then really being direct and saying, I'm noticing that you're acting a little bit differently. Do you want to talk about what's going on? Or if you don't want to talk to me about it, can I connect you with a social worker or somebody else that you might feel comfortable talking to? I'm always available to meet with students. You can email me or call me, and I can check in with them. Sometimes that can be a little bit more effective with teenagers. Sometimes they're more hesitant to speak to their parents. I hope this is helpful. Thank you.
I want to give a very big thank you to Katie, Jason, and Nina for putting these videos together for today. I would like to remind you that at Elmwood Park, we're not just dedicated to your students' academic success, but to their social and emotional well-being also. If you have any concerns and would like to speak to someone further about your students' social or emotional health, please don't hesitate to reach out to a trusted district contact, such as a classroom teacher, a counselor, or a school administrator. We would like to thank you for joining us today, and we hope you have a wonderful day.